What's happening, form? Welcome back to another video. Today is going to be a little different as we are going through another iceberg video. Today is the NFL Iceberg. This iceberg chart was made on the r/NFL V2 subreddit. But before we get started, I want to just quickly explain how football itself started. I'm going to do that right now. American football is a sport that was made from the two sports of rugby and soccer in the 19th century, with the first ever true football game being played between the two colleges, Rutgers and Princeton, in 1869. The sport didn't truly go professional until 1920, when the APFA was created, which was later changed to the league we all know today, the National Football League, or the NFL for short. Now, I call myself a sports nerd all the time, but even when I was making this iceberg, I found out some things I didn't know previously until researching, and maybe you'll learn something too from this video. So let's not waste any more time and just get started. The Damar Hamlin incident. Okay, yeah, we're starting off this iceberg in a pretty dark way, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, this is how deep this iceberg is gonna be. The Damar Hamlin incident refers to when Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin went into cardiac arrest during a Monday Night Football game between the Bills and the Bengals in 2023. Hamlin collapsed after making a tackle where medics performed CPR and a defibrillator to restore his heartbeat. He was then rushed to the hospital and made a recovery and returned on October 1st, 2023. This incident made people concerned about the safety of the NFL, which is something we'll get into later in the iceberg. Deshaun Watson allegations. Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson was accused of sexual assault by 24 women and later faced another lawsuit in 2024, bringing the total amount of lawsuits against him to 27. The NFL did suspend Watson following these allegations for 11 games during the 2022 season. Deshaun Watson is also the player with the worst contract in NFL history after signing a 5-year, $230 million guaranteed contract. This contract was signed whilst the allegations were coming out, and since then, Deshaun Watson was suspended during 2022, suffered a season-ending shoulder injury in 2023, and ruptured his Achilles in 2024. And during this offseason, he re-ruptured his Achilles again, taking him out of the 2025 season. Watson's contract will end in 2026, and honestly, I hope this guy never plays another snap on the field. Tanking. The act of tanking in sports is where teams lose games on purpose to get a good spot in the upcoming draft. Teams that tanked in the past were the Browns during the entirety of the 2010s, which led them to getting QBs such as Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield, the Dolphins in 2019, which led them to getting Tua, Jets in 2020, where they picked Zach Wilson, Commanders in 2020, which got them linebacker Jamin Davis, Bears in 2023, where they got Caleb Williams, and Cardinals in 2023, where they drafted wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. Rashee Rice reckless driving incident. In 2024, Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice was driving 110 miles per hour in Dallas when he lost control, causing a 6-car collision. Rice was under the influence during the wreck and turned himself into the police, where he was released on a bond. Craziest part of all this is that Rice did not face a suspension by the league and played the full 2024 season, where the Chiefs made all the way to the Super Bowl and lost to the Eagles. Redskins name controversy. The Washington Commanders used to be called the Washington Redskins from the 60s all the way until 2020, where the team changed name and logo due to the controversy involving the word Redskin, which is considered a racial slur for Native Americans. Following this controversy, the team changed its name to the best name ever, the Washington Football Team, and the logo was just a W until 2022, where the team was officially given the new name Washington Commanders. Many people to this day still think that the original name should be brought back simply because the team had so many accomplishments whilst they were named the Redskins, including 3 Super Bowl wins in 83, 88, and 92. As of today, the Commanders have a bright future after drafting quarterback Jaden Daniels in 2024, where he carried the team all the way to the NFC Championship game, their first appearance since their Super Bowl winning run in 1992. Spygate. This refers to a 2007 scandal with the New England Patriots where the assistant coaches were caught taping the Jets head coach during their Week 1 game. The league fined Patriots coach Bill Belichick $500,000, fined the team $250,000, and the team was stripped of their first-round pick in the 2008 draft. This scandal didn't affect the team because they went undefeated during the regular season and won all games in the playoffs, but lost to Eli Manning and the Giants in that year's Super Bowl, ending their perfect streak. Shedeur Sanders draft slide. Shedeur Sanders was projected to be a top pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, but what happened next was the worst draft slide in NFL history. Every team kept passing on Sanders until day 3 of the draft, where at pick number 144, he was finally selected by the Cleveland Browns, who already had drafted a QB earlier in the draft, taking Dylan Gabriel from Oregon. As of writing this video, Sanders is reportedly not performing well in the Browns QB race, where he is the worst out of all 4 QBs on the roster. This could probably lead to him being cut from the roster, and if so, that'd be really freaking funny. Ravens are the original Browns. This refers to the origins of the Baltimore Ravens. After Baltimore lost the Colts team in 1984, Baltimore was left without a team until 1996, where the Cleveland Browns franchise was moved to Baltimore. However, the Browns' name, colors, and history were retained by the city, and a new Browns team was established in 1999. Deflategate. This refers to another Patriots controversy involving Tom Brady, where during the 2015 AFC Championship game against the Indianapolis Colts, the Patriots were allegedly using slightly deflated footballs, making the balls easier to throw and catch. After this game, the Patriots went on to win the Super Bowl after Russell Wilson infamously decided to throw the ball at the 1-yard line instead of handing it off to running back Marshawn Lynch. Once the season was over, the league decided to look deeper into the alleged deflated balls, and later fined the Patriots $1 million and stripped many draft picks. The league also decided to suspend Tom Brady for the first 4 games of the next season, where the Patriots would win the Super Bowl again, but we'll talk about that later. Also, a little side note here, if you hear fireworks going off in the background, that is not my fault at all. That is completely due to my neighbors. They just keep launching fireworks. It is currently July 13th as I'm recording this, and they're not stopping. I don't know when they'll stop, but I don't got all night, and I really just want to record this section of the video, and I just want to get this part over with. So yeah, if you hear fireworks, just ignore them. Super Bowl hangover. Super Bowl hangover refers to when teams who made the Super Bowl the previous year have a massive decline in performance. Such examples are the 2019 Rams, where they went 9-7 after making the Super Bowl the previous year, and the 2024 49ers, where after their loss in the Super Bowl, they suffered injuries to their stars and finished with a 6-11 record. Refs rigging games for the Kansas City Chiefs. This refers to a meme where refs rig games specifically for the Chiefs. There is proof to back this claim though, because there have been several calls throughout the years that led to Chiefs winning games, including Super Bowls and playoff games. A lot of like you can say it's a joke, but there are a lot of bullcrap calls that are shown through the previous years, and it's really freaking crazy how they're just allowed to do it. But yeah, you can either call it a conspiracy theory or a meme. Either way, you can't really deny that it's 100% fake. And that's all I'm going to say. And that will do it for layer 1 of the iceberg. Now, there are a lot of, things that people know. Some things people don't know. And the Shedeur Sanders one was one that I added. Yeah, let's just get straight into layer 2, I guess. O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson was a player for the Buffalo Bills and played for the team for 11 seasons, but in 1995, the star was taken to court after allegedly taking the lives of Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman. The trial is infamous for the glove demonstration where O.J.'s attorney, Johnny Cochran, made O.J. try on a pair of gloves that was found at the scene of the murders and saying, "If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit." The trial is also infamous after O.J. failed to surrender to the police after being charged with the murders. Instead of turning himself in, he fled in a white Bronco driven by a friend of his, starting a chase across Los Angeles, which was televised to millions on TV. The Madden Curse. The Madden Curse refers to the trend where stars featured on the cover of Madden video game series get severely injured or have bad performances following their cover appearance. The curse started when 49ers star Garrison Harris was the first cover star for Madden 99. There are many more examples of this curse claiming victims, like recent stars such as Antonio Brown, who went crazy because of all the CTE he suffered, causing him to fall off and disappear from the league. Josh Allen, who recently won MVP, but seems to be cursed because he always chokes in the playoffs. And the most recent example being Christian McCaffrey, who was injured almost during the entire 2024 season. This injury caused the 49ers to have a bad record of 6-11, which was something I mentioned earlier in the iceberg. Aaron Rodgers' darkness retreat. A darkness retreat is a period of time spent in complete sensory deprivation, specifically the absence of light, designed for self-reflection and potential spiritual or psychological exploration. In February 2023, quarterback Aaron Rodgers completed a 4-day darkness retreat, seeking clarity about his future in the NFL. Shortly after this, Rodgers was traded to the New York Jets, where he played the worst football in his entire career. MetLife turf. This refers to how the MetLife Stadium, the same stadium where the Jets and the Giants play, is known for using artificial grass instead of real grass. The artificial grass was made widespread after Aaron Rodgers got injured during Week 1 in the 2023 season, causing him to not play at all that season. Touchdownception. Also known as the Fail Mary, this refers to a game between the Packers and the Seahawks in 2012 where the Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson threw a last-second Hail Mary, which was both caught and intercepted at the same time. Two refs had different calls, with one calling it a touchdown and the other calling it an interception. This was ruled a touchdown and led to the Seahawks winning the game. Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs was a former Raiders wide receiver who was involved in a fatal car crash in November 2021 that killed a woman and her dog. Ruggs was driving under the influence and was charged with a DUI and was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison. The Colts moved to Indianapolis. The Indianapolis Colts were originally located in Baltimore before they relocated in 1984. The move to Indy happened in the middle of the night on March 28th, where moving trucks suddenly gathered all the team's belongings and moved into Indianapolis. This relocation angered Baltimore fans for years until the Cleveland Browns went defunct and was sold to Baltimore, as previously mentioned in the Iceberg. 28-3. This refers to the score at halftime during Super Bowl 51, where during the fourth quarter, the Patriots made the largest comeback in Super Bowl history, with the final score being 34-28. The Atlanta Falcons are still haunted by this game and will forever be a stain on the franchise until they win another Super Bowl. Dez Bryant no catch. This refers to the incident during the 2014 NFC divisional game between the Packers and the Cowboys, where Cowboys wide receiver Dez Bryant looked like he caught the ball, but as he fell down, he lost control and the ball fell out of his hands, making this an incomplete pass, costing the Cowboys the game. Eli's refusal to play for the Chargers. This refers to when Eli Manning didn't want to get drafted by the Chargers. The Chargers eventually drafted him, but traded him to the Giants for the person picked before him, Phillip Rivers. You can call this a win-win trade, as both QBs were good for both teams, but in the end, Eli was the better man, retiring with 2 Super Bowl wins. But the reason Eli didn't want to go to the Chargers is because he thought the franchise had a lack of support for QBs and he didn't want to play in the West Coast. 2018 NFC Championship no call. This refers to the infamous moment during the 2018 NFC Championship where, during the final minutes of the game, Saints quarterback Drew Brees chucked the ball downfield to an open receiver, only for the guy to be sent flying by a Rams defender. This was clearly a pass interference, but the refs didn't throw a flag. The Rams went on to the Super Bowl where they lost to the Patriots. And that is going to do it for layer 2 of the iceberg. That was just a few basic things. A little more, some a little obscure, I guess you could say. But yeah, on to layer 3. Super Bowl 40 bad calls. Apparently during Super Bowl 40 between the Steelers and the Seahawks, several bad calls went against the Seahawks, leading to accusations of biased officiating and impacting the game's outcome. Bottlegate. This refers to an incident during a game between the Browns and the Jaguars in 2001 where the refs went back on their decision on a play they already called a complete pass. This led to fans in attendance getting angry and throwing beer bottles onto the field, making it dangerous to continue playing, leading to the refs to cancel the rest of the game on the spot. But 20 minutes later, the NFL commissioner forced the players to go back out and finish the game. The Heidi Game. The Heidi Game is a game in 1968 between the Raiders and the Jets where during the final minute of the game, the Raiders scored 2 touchdowns and an exciting comeback to win the game. However, the NBC broadcast for this game was cut off and started showing the movie Heidi, and only fans in attendance saw the comeback. Ray Rice. This entry is referring to an incident in 2014 where Baltimore Ravens running back Ray Rice physically assaulted his girlfriend in an elevator. The camera inside the elevator caught all of this, and Rice was hit with a 2-game suspension by the NFL. The FedEx Field Curse. This refers to the old stadium for the Washington Commanders and how it is cursed because many injuries have happened inside the stadium. The most well-known examples being quarterbacks Joe Theismann and Alex Smith, but we'll get into that later. Namath's Guarantee. This refers to Joe Namath's bold guarantee before playing in Super Bowl III against the Colts. The Jets went on to win that game and haven't been back to the Super Bowl since. Many say that Namath sold his soul to the devil just to win this game, and cursing the franchise forever. Michael Vick dogfighting. On August 20th, 2007, Falcons star quarterback Michael Vick pleaded guilty to one count of criminal conspiracy to operate a dogfighting ring across state lines. The case also involved the killing and abuse of dogs. This led to Vick getting suspended indefinitely from the NFL until he returned to the league in 2009 and played for the Eagles. 1994 Chargers curse. This curse refers to the string of untimely deaths involving several players from the 1994 Super Bowl team. This Chargers team was the only time the franchise made the Super Bowl. 8 players from that team have died before turning 45. Brett Favre welfare scandal. This scandal involves allegations that Favre, along with others, misused millions of dollars in federal welfare funds intended for low-income families in Mississippi. These funds were allegedly used by Favre to pay him for speaking engagements he didn't attend and to fund a new volleyball court for the University of Southern Mississippi where his daughter played. Antonio Brown leaves mid-game. This refers to when star receiver Antonio Brown left in the middle of a Buccaneers and Jets game on January 2nd, 2022. He removed his jersey, pads, and shirt and ran onto the field and left the game. The reason he left was refusal to play because of an ankle injury he had. This incident led to Brown getting fired from the team, and he hasn't played on the field since. Bountygate. Bountygate refers to when the Saints head coach, Sean Payton, placed bounties on opposing players, and the person who either injured them or knocked them out of the game received a huge bonus in pay. These bounties were being operated from 2009 to 2012, where in 2012, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell suspended Coach Payton for the entire 2012 season. The Marcus Allen curse. This is an alleged curse where after Raiders owner Al Davis had a falling out with Marcus Allen, he left the team. The fallout was caused by contract disputes and the two simply hating each other. But after the fallout, it is believed that Allen put a curse on the franchise. The curse is also leaked to a story where Marcus Allen allegedly hexed a photo of Al Davis and kept it in his freezer. Ever since Allen's departure, the Raiders have been inconsistent with success. Vontaze Burfict. Vontaze Burfict was an absolutely dirty player in the NFL who was active for 8 seasons in the league. Throughout his career, he faced many fines and suspensions for his many dirty hits, with him trying to injure many people such as Cam Newton, Greg Olsen, and was also the person who gave Antonio Brown his CTE from a nasty head-to-head hit. Burfict played his last game ever against the Colts, where he made another helmet-to-helmet hit on Jack Doyle. This caused Burfict to be suspended for the rest of the 2019 season, where he never played another game. Alright, that is going to do it for layer 3 of the iceberg. We're slowly getting into more of the darker stuff, so yeah, just get ready and let's just get straight to layer 4. Ray Lewis murder allegations. In 2000, Ray Lewis was charged with double murder following a stabbing outside a Super Bowl party in Atlanta. These charges were dropped after he pleaded guilty to obstruction of justice and testified against his companions. He was sentenced to 1 year of probation. Despite all of this, Ray Lewis went on to win 2 Super Bowls with the Ravens and was inducted to the Football Hall of Fame in 2016. Trading Joe Montana cursed the 49ers. During the 1993 offseason, the 49ers traded their star quarterback Joe Montana to the Chiefs for draft picks and safety Dave Whitmore. The 49ers went on to win the Super Bowl 2 years later. But since the trade, the 49ers have a 6-7 record against the Chiefs, with 2 of those losses coming from Super Bowls. Super Bowl 47 blackout. This refers to a 34-minute power outage during the third quarter of the Super Bowl between the Ravens and the 49ers. Many have made theories on this blackout, saying that it helped the 49ers make the game close because at the time of the outage, the score was 28-6. But this isn't true because the Ravens went on to win the game. Michael Irvin scissors incident. In 1988, Michael Irvin was involved in an incident where he used barber scissors to cut the neck of fellow Dallas lineman Everett McIver. The incident stemmed from a dispute over who would get their hair cut first at a barber shop. McIver received a 2-inch cut but did not press charges, and it was rumored that Irvin paid McIver a large amount to resolve everything. The Bobby Lane curse. The curse of Bobby Lane was a curse that haunted the Lions for over 60 years. Lane helped the team win 3 NFL championships during his time there from 1950 to 1958. The Lions then traded Lane to the Steelers in '58 after another championship win. Since then, the Lions have been the only NFC team to never go to the Super Bowl and didn't win a playoff game until 2023, where the team got all the way to the NFC Championship. Nowadays, the curse has seemingly been lifted by Peyton Manning on an episode of Peyton's Places, where Peyton and Jeff Daniels went to the Woodfield Stadium in Detroit and officially lifted the curse. After this episode, the Lions went on to have the number 1 seed in 2024. Sean Taylor. Sean Taylor was a safety who wore number 21 for the Washington Redskins from 2004 to 2007. Taylor's life tragically ended on November 27, 2007, where he was shot during a home invasion in Miami. In 2021, Washington honored Taylor by retiring his number during a halftime against the Chiefs. The reason I mention this is because of what happened during the game. Not only did they get destroyed 31-13, but Patrick Mahomes' brother filmed a TikTok of him dancing on Taylor's memorial number. Bill Callahan sabotaged the Super Bowl. This refers to when Raiders coach Bill Callahan changed the game plan of Super Bowl 37 just 2 days before the big game. Callahan switched the game plan from a run-heavy offense to a pass offense. This led to the Bucs defense understanding their plan and absolutely destroying the Raiders 48-21. The Body Bag Game. The Body Bag Game was a Monday Night Football game between the Eagles and the Redskins, where the Eagles won 28-14. The game gets its name from a pregame boast from Eagles coach Buddy Ryan, who told reporters that the Redskins would get beaten so badly that they'll have to be carted off in body bags. Turns out Coach Ryan wasn't lying, because during the game, 9 Redskins players suffered injuries. One Eagles player reacted to the injuries by saying, quote, "Do you guys need more body bags?" Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez was a tight end for the Patriots for 3 seasons. During the 2013 offseason, Hernandez was charged with the murder of Odin Lloyd. Following the arrest, he was released from the Patriots. He was also found guilty in 2015 of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. While on trial, he was also charged for a double homicide he committed in 2012. 5 days after being acquitted for the double homicide, Hernandez was found dead in his cell. The Paycor Stadium Curse. Paycor Stadium is a stadium where the Cincinnati Bengals play and has had many serious injuries over the years. 2016, Antonio Brown was hit in the head, causing his current CTE. I don't know how many times I've mentioned that in this video. 2020, where Ryan Shazier suffered a paralyzing back injury that led to his early retirement. 2023, where Damar Hamlin went into cardiac arrest. And most recently, where Dolphins quarterback Tua suffered a head injury where his fingers seized up and he laid on the ground for 10 minutes until being carried out of the field in a stretcher. Refs bet on games. Okay, so I really tried to find an incident of a referee actually betting on a game, but I couldn't. So I guess this is just a theory or an excuse or a way of saying that this is the explanation for all those bullshit calls throughout the years. And yeah, you could say it's true. Again, I've said it earlier, but yeah. Alright, that is going to do it for layer 4 of the iceberg. That one took me a while to record. It's been a week since I last worked on this video, so I'm really trying to get this done right now. So yeah, on to layer 5. Chris Henry. Chris Henry was a wide receiver for the Bengals who played for the team for 5 seasons after being selected in the 3rd round of the 2005 draft. Henry tragically died on December 17, 2009 after he fell out of a moving truck after a domestic dispute with his wife. An autopsy later revealed that Henry had developed CTE from playing in the league. Darren Sharper. Sharper was a safety who played in the league for 14 seasons and also played for 3 different teams: Packers, Vikings, and the Saints. After his retirement in 2010, allegations surfaced that Sharper had drugged and raped several women across many states, leading him to be charged in 2014. Sharper pleaded guilty to these charges and was sentenced to 20 years in prison in 2016. Jerry Jones' 1957 photo. This refers to a picture of the Little Rock 9 children trying to enter the Little Rock school, where they are being blocked to enter by a large group of white teens. If you look closely, you can see a young Jerry Jones in the back. Whenever Jones was asked about this, he plays it off by saying he was just, quote, a curious kid. This is obviously some stupid excuse, but because he blames youth curiosity on something that was national news at the time. George Halas refused to integrate. In 1933, the NFL secretly implemented a ban on any black players from playing in the league. The ban lasted until 1946, where the first 2 black players, Kenny Washington and Woodley Strode, were signed to the Rams. George Halas is mentioned because him, along with a few other owners at the time, were the ones who created the ban, but Halas later denied ever being involved. A homeless man told Haslam to draft Manziel. This would be one of the craziest things if it was true, but this refers to an alleged story from Browns owner Jimmy Haslam, where Haslam claims that before the 2014 draft, Haslam was out for dinner when a homeless man on the street looked up at him and told him to draft quarterback Johnny Manziel from Texas A&M. Manziel was the most popular player out of that draft, and he later slid down in the draft after it came out that Manziel was known to be a massive party animal. Eventually, Haslam listened to the homeless man and drafted Manziel with the 22nd pick. Manziel went on to play for 2 seasons with the team and had a record of 3-11 as a starter and only scored 7 touchdowns. Dan Marino draft slide. The 1983 draft class was stacked with Hall of Fame quarterbacks like John Elway, Jim Kelly, and Dan Marino. Dan Marino was taken at pick 27 by the Miami Dolphins. The reason that Marino slid so far was because many teams were concerned about his play style and alleged drug rumors at the time. Marino went on to have a Hall of Fame career in Miami after playing for the team for 17 seasons. Johnny Knox injury. This refers to the brutal injury that Bears wide receiver Johnny Knox suffered during a game against the Seahawks in 2011. Knox suffered a severe spinal injury, that being a fractured vertebrae and spinal nerve damage after being hit by defensive end Anthony Hargrove. The hit caused his body to bend backwards in a way that led to the nerve damage. This injury instantly ended his career, and Knox officially retired in 2013 after 3 seasons. Joe Theismann and Alex Smith injuries. This refers to the strangely similar injuries suffered by Redskins quarterbacks Joe Theismann and Alex Smith. Both were injured in the same place on the same day whilst they played for the same team. Both got injured at the 39-yard line. Both games ended with the same score. Both were tackled by former Defensive Player of the Year winners, and both times their left tackle wasn't playing. Scary stuff. The Staley Swindle. Okay, so this whole thing was a little confusing to me, so just bear with me here. The 1921 NFL Championship controversy, also known as the Staley Swindle, was when Chicago stole the championship from Buffalo after winning a postseason game between Buffalo that the owner claimed was an exhibition game, meaning that it wouldn't count for the league standings. Buffalo finished the season with a 9-1 record, but in this game, Chicago beat them 7-10. After the game, Staley's owner George Halas rescheduled 2 more games and won both of them with a record of 9-1, leading to both Buffalo and Chicago being tied for the best team in the league. The league then made a rule that made a tiebreaker for the championship. The rule stated that a rematch mattered more than the first game, and since Chicago won the rematch, they were handed the championship. Alright, that is the end of layer 5. 2 more layers to go. Let's just get straight into it. Junior Seau. Junior Seau was a linebacker who played in the league for 20 seasons and retired in 2010. He later died in 2012 at the age of 43. His death prompted investigations of the long-term effects of CTE in the NFL. Chief Saholic. Chief Saholic, real name Xavier Babudar, was a Chiefs superfan who showed up to every game in a wolf costume. He also had a massive following on Twitter where he posted hype videos of him outside the stadium for each game. Xavier had the money to travel this much by robbing banks every time he was in a different state. He was caught and arrested but was let go via bail. He then robbed more banks and went on the run until he was caught again and is currently serving a 32-year prison sentence. They made a whole documentary about this case, and if I didn't explain it well enough, you can go watch the documentary on Amazon Prime. Jeff Alm. Jeff Alm was a linebacker drafted by the Houston Oilers in 1990 after a great career in Notre Dame. In December 1993, Alm and his best friend, Sean Lynch, they were out drunk driving when they crashed their Cadillac on an exit ramp, causing Lynch to fly through the passenger seat and get brutally injured. Alm made a 911 call saying, quote, "I have a buddy dying." After making the call, Jeff Alm took his own life with the shotgun that was in the car. The Brunswick Balk Colander Cup. Also known as the BBC Cup, it's basically what the 1920 championship was. The Acorn Pros were supposed to be the winners of this cup with a record of 8-3, but the Buffalo All-Americans and the Chicago Staleys, mentioned earlier in the Iceberg, argued that the Pros shouldn't be given the award because they never beat both of those teams, which basically led to the 1920 championship winner being undecided until 1970, where the NFL rediscovered their early vote to give the cup to the Pros. As for the cup itself, it's nowhere to be found. The NFL hasn't mentioned it since it was originally supposed to be awarded in 1920. The only picture of its existence is from a newspaper. Ray Caruth. Ray Caruth was a wide receiver drafted by the Panthers in 1997 and played until 1999. On November 16, 1999, Caruth shot Sharika Adams, a woman who was 8 months pregnant with his child. Adams later died a month after the shooting. Caruth quickly fled after her death and was captured on December 15th. After being found in the trunk of a car a day after getting caught, he was released by the Panthers. Carruth was later found guilty of murdering Adams and served an 18-year prison sentence until he was released in 2018. The Colts are the original Dayton Triangles. Okay, we're going way back for this one. The Dayton Triangles were one of the original teams in the league, established in 1913, eventually being sold to Brooklyn and becoming the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1930. The Dodgers went through a name change to the Brooklyn Tigers and then moved to Boston and became the Boston Yanks. The Yanks moved to New York and then changed to the Dallas Texans. After the Texans folded, the team's assets were given to Baltimore and they became the Baltimore Colts. Finally, the Baltimore Colts moved to Indianapolis in 1984 and have been known as the Indianapolis Colts ever since. Steve McNair. Steve McNair was a quarterback who played for the Titans and Ravens and played in the league for 14 seasons. Tragically, on July 4th, 2009, McNair was found dead from multiple gunshot wounds along with the body of Sahel Kazemi. The Titans later honored McNair in 2019 by retiring his number 9 jersey. Goodell created COVID to kill the XFL. Okay, so obviously this is just a shitpost in the iceberg, but there's still something to explain here. The XFL was a football league founded by Vince McMahon in 1999. The XFL only lasted one season in 2001, where after the Los Angeles Extreme won the championship, the league folded. The XFL later came back in 2020, but was cut short after just 5 weeks due to COVID. Jimmy Hoffa's remains. Jimmy Hoffa was an American labor union leader who served as the president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters from 1957 to 1971. He allegedly had ties to organized crime and mysteriously disappeared in 1975. There's a theory on his disappearance where he was killed and buried under the stadium that the Giants played in until 2010, where the stadium was demolished. When the stadium was demolished, the FBI didn't investigate, meaning that Hoffa's death is still a huge mystery. Alright, that's it for Layer 6. One more to go. Let's get into it. Javon Belcher. Javon Belcher was a linebacker for the Chiefs and played his entire career there. In 2012, Belcher killed his girlfriend after the two had an argument over their infant child. He then drove to Arrowhead Stadium and shot himself in front of his coach and GM. 2 weeks after his death, his brain was examined and turns out Belcher was suffering from CTE. Chuck Hughes. Chuck Hughes was a wide receiver who played for the Eagles and Lions. Tragically, on October 24, 1971, Hughes and the Lions were playing against the Bears. With 1 minute left in the game, Hughes collapsed after suffering a heart attack and died on the field. In honor of Hughes, the Lions retired his number 85 jersey, and Hughes is known as the only player to die during a game. Robert Rozier. Rozier was drafted by the Cardinals in 1979, but was cut after 6 games because of allegations of drug use and petty crime. He then moved to Canada and played in the CFL. Whilst playing in the CFL, he wrote many false checks with $20,000 to $30,000. He also joined a religious movement called the Nation of Yahweh, which was a movement that, quote, teaches that American blacks are the true Jews. In an effort to join the group, Rozier took the initiation of killing random, quote, white devils. By 1986, he had killed at least 4 people and was charged with first-degree murder. Rozier then confessed to the police about everything the Yahweh movement was doing, which led to Rozier being put in jail for 22 years, then put into the Witness Protection Program under a new name. Rozier was later arrested again in 1999 for making a bounced check of $66. I'll link a YouTube video explaining the situation way better than I did. The NFL downplays CTE. The NFL has faced criticism over the years from allegedly downplaying the link between playing football and developing CTE. The league has acknowledged it in the past and agreed to a settlement with former players regarding CTE. As of today's NFL, you can argue that it's a lot safer with the changes to kickoff rules and the new Guardian caps. The Pottsville Maroons curse. This refers to the controversy of the 1925 championship that was stripped from the Maroons after playing an exhibition game between the Notre Dame All-Stars, which violated territorial rights of another team, that being the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets. The Cardinals then played a few extra games and rewarded the championship. It's been 100 years since this controversy, and the Cardinals have been mediocre ever since. Randall Woodfield was drafted by the Packers. Randall Woodfield was drafted by the Packers in 1974, but was cut during training camp that year. After being cut, he became a criminal, then serial killer, and was suspected of multiple sexual assaults and murders. He was only convicted of one murder, but was linked to 18 others and suspected of killing up to 44 people. That's just a quick summary because I can't go into detail here, but I'll link a video in the description explaining it. The Madden Killer. This refers to the Jacksonville Landing shooting, which was a mass shooting that took place at a video game tournament for Madden 19 on August 26, 2018. At around 1:30, a lone gunman named David Katz shot and killed 2 people and injured 10 others before shooting himself. The tournament consisted of around 130 to 150 people. After Katz lost, he refused to shake the hand of the other player and left the tournament. He later came back and shot at the place. Scary thing is that the event's stream caught some of the shooting on camera, where you can see a red dot fly past a contestant.
It's not a tough out today. Excuse me, not an easy out.
Katz himself was suffering from a mental illness, and other participants noted that Katz acted strange during the tournament, meaning that Katz was clearly wasn't in a good state to play in the tournament to begin with. The Patriots dynasty was rigged due to 9/11. This refers to a theory that states the NFL rigged the 2002 Super Bowl due to 9/11. This is because the Patriots team and logo has America's colors on it. Also, the NFL changed the logo of that year's Super Bowl to an American flag. This is the only time they've ever done this. You can say the Patriots were rigged to win it due to the infamous no-tuck rule from that year's AFC Championship game against the Raiders. The Patriots went on to win that Super Bowl, and the rest is history. Well, that was it for the NFL Iceberg. I have been working on this video for about a month now. That's the reason why uploads have been a little slow. I'm glad to get this done. Glad to get it over with. Really excited for y'all to see it. Hope it does well. And if it does do well and y'all want me to do more commentary / Iceberg or NFL sports videos, I can do that. It wasn't really that hard researching for most of this stuff. And I also learned a lot of things while doing this, which was also pretty fun. Maybe you learned something too. But for now, I'm done for the night. So please subscribe because I worked really hard on this video.